Hello and welcome. I am Pranay Upadhyay and you are watching Namaste World. We begin with India-Russia ties, where New Delhi and Moscow are considering a monthly fixed rupee-ruble rate to protect trade from currency swing and global financial shocks. In Europe, a Hollywood-style bank heist stuns Germany as thieves drill into vault, steals millions and disappear without a trace. In West Asia, ties between long-time allies Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates are cracking after the Mukalla airstrike, exposing a deep rift over Yemen's future and southern separatists. But the biggest news of the day: India rejects China's bizarre claim of mediating the India-Pakistan ceasefire, saying the agreement was reached directly through bilateral military talks. All that and more. Global flashpoints, power plays and the stories that matter are coming up in this edition of Namaste World. India has strongly rejected China's claim that Beijing mediated the ceasefire between New Delhi and Islamabad during the intense military standoff in May 2025. Official sources in New Delhi reiterate that no third party was involved, and the ceasefire of May 10th, after India's Operation Sindoor, was agreed upon directly through talks between Director General of Military Operations of the two countries. Sources told India Today Global, and I quote, "We have already refuted such claims on bilateral issues between India and Pakistan. There is no role of a third party," unquote. The controversy erupted after Chinese Foreign Minister Wang claimed that China had mediated tensions between Pakistan and India, among other global hotspots, saying Beijing took an objective and neutral stance to build lasting peace. China now joins the credit war, becoming the latest after US President Donald Trump to claim it helped stop the conflict. Trump has repeated similar assertions at multiple occasions on global stage. However, India's response highlights China's alleged hypocrisy, as Beijing firmly backed Pakistan during the three-day hostility, providing military support, even as Chinese air defense system failed against India's strike on 11 Pakistani bases. A top Indian Army general has accused China of using the confrontation as a live lab to test its weapon, noting that 81% of Pakistan's military hardware in recent years comes from China. The brief but fierce confrontation was triggered by a deadly terror attack in Pahalgam on April 22, 2025, killing 26 innocent people, prompting Operation Sindoor, which destroyed 9 terror camps inside Pakistan. India maintains its firm stand. The resolution was bilateral and purely between the two nations. India and Russia are discussing a new way to trade that could reduce currency risk and cut dependence on the US dollar. A monthly fixed rupee-ruble rate may bring stability for businesses on both sides. Can this plan really change how bilateral trade works? Here is a report by Rudrashish Kanjilal.
India and Russia are exploring a bold economic move that could reshape their trade. Could a monthly fixed rupee-ruble exchange rate be the answer to unpredictable global currencies? The proposal is simple but potentially transformative. Instead of daily swings in the currency markets, India and Russia could set a single exchange rate each month for all trade transactions. Exporters and importers would finally have predictability, reducing the risk of sudden losses. But why now? Global disruptions, sanctions, dollar shortages, and volatile financial markets have forced nations to rethink trade mechanisms. India and Russia already conduct a growing share of trade in local currencies, but functioning rates have caused delays, pricing mismatches, and accounting headaches. A monthly fixed rate could smooth these frictions. For businesses, especially smaller ones, without sophisticated hedging tools, it offers a lifeline. Clear pricing, reliable payments, and reduced exposure to external financial shocks. Here's how it could work. Central banks in both countries would calculate a reference rate based on market averages, trade balances, and currency stability indicators. This rate would apply for the entire month before being recalculated for the next period. Daily volatility eliminated, flexibility maintained. The stakes are high. India imports vast amounts of Russian crude oil, coal, and fertilizers. In return, it exports pharmaceuticals, machinery, tea, and consumer goods. A stable rupee-ruble rate could allow Russian exporters to repatriate funds efficiently while giving Indian buyers clear cost expectations. Over time, this may increase trade volumes and deepen economic cooperation. But it's not just about commerce. This move reflects strategic intent. Both nations aim to reduce reliance on the US dollar and protect trade from external pressures. For India, it means diversification without abandoning global markets. For Russia, it preserves trade flows amid financial restrictions. But challenges remain. Differences in trade balances, liquidity management, and currency convertibility need careful coordination. Businesses will require time to adjust accounting systems and contracts. Transparency in rate setting will be critical to avoid disputes or market distortions. If implemented successfully, this could set a blueprint for other countries looking to insulate trade and global currency volatility. Predictable, stable, and mutually beneficial, India and Russia might just be rewriting the rules of bilateral trade. For now, the proposal is under discussion, but its implications could ripple far beyond India and Russia. In trade, predictability can be power, and both nations seem ready to seize it. With Rudrishish Kanjalal, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
It sounds like a movie plot, but it happened for real in Germany. Thieves drilled into a bank vault, cracked thousands of lockers, and vanished with millions of euros during the Christmas holidays. How did they pull off this daring robbery without anyone noticing? Here is more in Srijata Sen Majumdar's report.
A daring bank heist straight out of a Hollywood movie has shocked Germany. Thieves pulled off what police are calling a very professionally executed robbery, stealing an estimated 30 million euros. That's about 26 million pounds or $35 million from a high street bank in Western Germany. The thieves used a large industrial drill to break into the underground vault, accessing more than 3,000 safe deposit boxes filled with cash, gold, and jewelry. Police have compared the operation to the film Ocean's 11, saying this was no amateur job. The thieves exploited the quiet Christmas holiday period to carry out their plan. They gained access through an adjacent parking garage, which is also how they escaped. Witnesses reported seeing several men carrying large bags in the garage stairwell overnight Saturday into Sunday. Police are searching for a black Audi RS6 spotted leaving the area early Monday morning. The crime was discovered Monday morning when a fire alarm went off. Police and firefighters found a massive hole drilled into the underground vault room. 95% of the bank's safe deposit boxes were forced open. Nearly every single box in the vault. Sparka's bank told customers the likelihood they were impacted is very high. The bank set up a hotline and closed the branch on Tuesday after crowds of worried customers gathered outside demanding answers. What about the victims? Each safe deposit box is insured up to only 10,300 euros. Customers are being advised to check their home insurance policies because standard coverage likely won't cover the full value of what they have lost. Till now, no arrests have been made. The perpetrators remain at large. This heist highlights increasingly sophisticated organized crime in Europe. For Gelsenkirchen residents and bank customers, this Christmas has brought an unwelcome and costly surprise. But the investigation continues. With Srijata Sen Majumdar, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
Once close allies in Yemen, Saudi Arabia and UAE are now facing off openly. A Saudi airstrike, separatist advance, and rival security goals have pushed tensions into open. What went wrong between the two Gulf powers and why is Yemen at the center of this clash. Here is a report by Jyoti Shukla.
What was once one of West Asia's closest partnerships is now openly cracking, and Yemen is where it's exploding. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, longtime allies in the Yemen war, are now on a collision course. The trigger was a Saudi airstrikes on the Yemeni port city of Mukalla. Riyadh accused the UAE of secretly shipping weapons and armored vehicles to the Southern Transitional Council, or STC, a powerful separatist group fighting for an independent South Yemen and backed by Abu Dhabi. Saudi Arabia called it a direct threat to its national security. Hours later, Yemen's Saudi-backed government demanded that all Emirati forces leave the country within 24 hours. This was no longer quiet disengagement, this was a red line. The UAE initially denied the accusations, but days later it announced it would withdraw its remaining counter-terrorism forces from Yemen, saying the move was voluntary and based on recent developments. The uneasy balance that held for years had finally snapped. So why did this blow up now? The answer lies with the STC. Formed in 2017, the group wants to restore an independent South Yemen, which existed before unification in 1990. With heavy UAE backing, the STC has grown into a dominant force, controlling Aden and large swathes of southern Yemen. In recent months, the STC pushed aggressively eastward. It entered Hadramaut, Yemen's largest province, seized key oil installations, and expanded into Mara, capturing border crossings and strategic coastline. According to reports, STC-aligned forces now claim influence across 8 governorates. These gains came at the expense of forces loyal to Yemen's internationally recognized government, the very government Saudi Arabia backs. For Riyadh, this is dangerous. Saudi Arabia wants a unified Yemen under a central authority, one that can block Iranian influence and stabilize its southern border. A powerful southern separatist movement threatens that vision and fractures the anti-Houthi front. Abu Dhabi sees things differently. The UAE views the STC as a reliable partner against Islamist factions and as a way to secure critical maritime routes linking the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, and the Arabian Sea. Those competing priorities finally collided in Mukalla. Saudi Arabia accused vessels linked to the UAE of arriving with tracking systems switched off and unloading military equipment without approval. Saudi jets then struck the port, calling the operation limited and defensive. The kingdom warned it would confront any threat to its security. The escalation fits into Yemen's broader civil war, which has splintered into overlapping conflicts since 2014. While the Houthis still control the north, the south is fragmented between rival power centers, militias, and regional backers. The timing also matters. The crisis coincides with rising tensions in the Red Sea, Houthi attacks on shipping, and shifting regional alignments. Analysts warn Yemen is drifting towards de facto partition, a scenario that could redraw power balances across the Gulf. For Saudi Arabia and the UAE, this confrontation is about far more than one port or one shipment. It's about who shapes Yemen's future and whose security vision ultimately prevails. And for Yemenis already battered by years of war, it is yet another reminder that peace remains painfully out of reach. With Jyoti Shukla, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
As we wrap up today's show, here's a quick look at the top stories making waves around the world. 18 Cambodian soldiers return home from Thai custody, easing tensions after a ceasefire ended weeks of deadly border fighting. Russian drone attack damaged homes in Ukraine's Odessa, injuring 4 people, including an infant, as firefighters battle overnight fires. Thick smog chokes New Delhi on New Year's Eve, delaying flights and trains as air quality drops to severe levels. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of Namaste World. From breakthrough in technology and business to political developments and natural disasters. Stay tuned as we bring you the latest updates, key developments, and more from New Delhi to New York. See you again tomorrow, same time, right here on Namaste World.